taking this off the car. It looks a lot worse now than it was when it looked when it was on the car. I think that's just because you can see all the work that needs to be done. Some of the history on it, you can see it's been brazed right here. It has some brass on it. This is caved in, and the whole thing here should be level. So it's had a pretty hard life. It appears to be straight around the flange where it attaches to the engine, which is good. That means it'll seal up. Hopefully the banging and stuff I do on it doesn't affect that. Probably where it's severely creased and crimped, like here and here and here, is going to tear when I straighten it out, and then I'll have to weld it. But we'll cross that road when we get to it. For now, I'm just going to start beating on it and see what I can do to get it straight. One of the good things about this is I finally get to use this. The beater bag. Yeah, I made this a long time ago. One of those home projects while I was waiting for shipments to arrive. And I never got to use it. It's, I don't know, it just didn't, hammers and dollies seem to work on everything except to this point. I think this will work well for this particular project. Beater bags are really good for dishing things out. So you beat on it and it kind of takes the form of the hammer, if that makes sense. So I'll be using that to beat away and see what we can do. I'm not trying to get a perfect look. I just want it to hold the oil capacity that it should have. So that's my goal here, not to make it look like brand new. Looks a little bit better. Kind of like a topographical map, but it's the right basic form. I'm not going to go crazy with this. If I had a planishing hammer, one of those, looks like it's in a giant C-clamp, the hammer on top and the dolly on bottom, maybe that would work really well to really level out this, because it's really bumpy, but it's as good as I can get it with the tools I have. If you notice, I use the what's it called? Little jackhammer thing. I had a bit that was for demolition had the pokey bit on it. I cut it off to give it kind of a flat hammer-like head, rounded off the corners, and used it. It was longer. I was able to get into tighter areas than I could manually. It worked rather well. The downside is this. It cracked. It cracked as I expected it to. this was just too bashed in to do much with. So next I obviously have a sandblasted now. Next I'm gonna go through and fill those in with the TIG welder, grind them down, and put it back, paint it, put it back on. I know that seems crazy, but after welding up those cracks, I wanted to make sure it was watertight before I go forward to painting it and stuff. So putting water in my oil pan. I know, it seems so wrong. Anyway, I'm gonna let it sit for a while, check it on the bottom, make sure nothing's dripping, and if that's done, I'm gonna start cleaning it up for paint. Yeah, it's a good thing I did the water test. I found a drip right in here. So back to the welder. Well, it's not perfect, but I didn't expect it to be. It does hold oil, and that's a good thing. And the rust is gone, that's a good thing. And it's clean and protected, so it won't rust again. Yeah, I guess the other option for doing this, if you have a pan that's just trashed, is to completely replace it. And they don't make the steel ones anymore. That are factory. The other option is an aluminum one. It's supposed to help with cooling and has cooling fins on the bottom and stuff, but it's not original. This one's original. I thought it was worth it to put it back on, even if the bottom's bent. I saw on a forum somebody talking about doing this, keeping it original, showing that, yeah, it's had some abuse because the car sits so low. That just means that the car was loved and used and driven like a madman. I thought while I had the oil pan off, I'd show you what goes on underneath there. First, this hanging down thing. That's the sump. There's a big wire mesh filter around it in case there's some big chunks that need filtered out. It was pretty dirty. I'd actually taken it off and cleaned it up because it was pretty easy to take off. This stick right here, that's the dipstick. So when you're checking the oil, that's the thing that goes all the way down to the bottom, so you can see where the oil is. If you look up way up there, it's the cam. That's what spins around and moves the valves up and down at the right time. This big thing right here in the middle is the crankshaft. It has the pistons attached to it. If you look through there, you can see the top of the piston, or the bottom of the piston. Don't know if you can really see the piston wall. From what I can tell from down here, the walls look pretty good. Actually, everything looks pretty good. So, yeah, I thought you might find that interesting, so. On Thursday this week, I went a bit mad and ended up cleaning the whole shop. Taking down the paint booth, kind of organizing things again. It feels so much bigger. I even put up the insulation on the far garage over there. So it feels like I have room to breathe again. It's amazing the difference. So I have one more project I want to try and get done before the weekend. I hope I have time to get it all in for this video. It's time to upholster this back piece. It was a long time ago when I first pulled it apart, and so I had to go back and watch the video to see how it was put together. I got distracted doing something else. So now the first step is to cut this back piece that fits in through here, out of this Nice new vinyl. If I remember correctly, this piece, the front folds over the back here, it goes all the way down into here. And this piece starts down here and works its way all the way. It gets folded front in here, kind of backs up on itself like that, and then it gets folded around here where then the front piece gets stapled along here. That's kind of the plan we're going with. I want to check, I'm going to put on the front just to make sure it does wrap all the way down to here. If not, we'll pull this up and put that up there. Let's see what we're doing. There, with that on, you can see there's plenty of fabric to go down here and wrap around here. Maybe I will be careful and pull it up there just in case. I believe the original one, I'll have to go back and check, this was folded under. I don't know if there's, there might be enough to do that. Okay, so I'll do it the original way. Keep it on the flat. While we're doing this, let's check the other side, see how far this stuff goes. Yeah, that comes around far enough. Good. Looks like it'll work. We got plenty on the sides. It should go like it's supposed to. And it's wood. Working with wood. Yeah, okay, so I checked the video again. You know, worth checking. So I was thinking if I drive staples in here, it's going to go through this thin plywood. What they originally did was it did go over just a little bit so they could tack it into this big piece of wood up here. So I'm going to mimic that and run it along there. Fold part. We're going to pull this back and on itself. So then we're going to end up with a nice straight line along the inside here. It'll still have staples showing. I guess before it was tacks, right? But I don't know. You still get that line. It's funny. This part doesn't really get shown, but there was a lot of attention put on it. So I mounted my favorite spray glue, so to hold the batting on, I'm going to use a light dusting of the contact adhesive. It basically goes all over the back and kind of folds around the front just a little bit. So this edge gets some padding. So we're going to go kind of light on this because it's not going to take much to hold it in place. happy with how that turned out. It's so much nicer doing upholstery on wood than metal. I know I've talked about that before, but wow. It's just not messy. Anyway, yeah, there's a few wiggles across the top here. I think they're gonna even out as the vinyl stretches a bit under the padding, because it's very cold in the shop. So I think that'll be all right. Yeah, I think with that, I'm gonna call it a weekend. I hope you all have a great weekend, and I'll see you on Monday. If you liked this video, click the like button below. If you want to come along on the ride as we complete this project, click the subscribe button. If you want to make sure Google reminds you every time there's a new video, click the alarm bell. Your support is very much appreciated.